What is up, everybody? Steve here. I hope you're doing well. Today I want to talk about the financial crisis that I see that's going to affect millions and millions of people across the United States if people are not prepared. For one thing, I want to talk about the savings rates before we go into the indebtedness that Americans are in right now. A study just came out by Go Banking Rates. They recently surveyed 1,000 Americans ages 18 and older to learn more about their banking practices and found that 32.9% have no more than $100 in their savings account. And then if we jump over to FinMasters, 23% of households self-reporting have no emergency savings at all. Median savings balance of Americans under the age of 35 was just $3,200. And this report is a little bit older, so I assume that that's going to be depleted even further. And 56% of Americans, over half of Americans, would not be able to cover an unexpected $1,000 bill with their savings account. If we just look at the Fred savings account, and I'm gonna, anytime you guys want to put eyes on charts, it helps me tremendously to see really the past compared to where we're at today on different factors that I'm gonna bring you guys through. So this is the savings rate. Hopefully you guys can see it, and maybe I'll put up a better screenshot for you guys. But the savings rate for U.S. consumers is dismal. It has depleted during the pandemic with all the stimulus money and everything else. People got this shot of stimulus money and, they built up their savings account. But unfortunately, what that does psychologically for people, it unfortunately, especially if they're working as well, and they're getting paid, or even if they're unemployed at the time, they're still receiving paychecks. It's a false sense of security in terms of income coming in and thinking that that's never going to end. And unfortunately, people got themselves into other situations, which I'm going to talk about right now. And I was talking to somebody that I know the other day, and we're talking about these Fred charts. And he goes on to say that he has over $40,000 in credit card debt. And I'm just thinking, like, damn, there's so many people in this situation that if they have not been saving and saving for not just a rainy day, but saving for the opportunities that are coming, it's going to be unfortunate for a lot of people, and I think that we're going to see bankruptcies, personal bankruptcies, shoot up tremendously. So let's talk about credit card debt, how high it is. We're at an all-time high with credit card debt, almost $1 trillion. Now, speaking of credit card debt, this is from Bankrate, and I encourage you guys to take a look at it, especially if you guys have credit cards right now. I was astonished. I knew that when the Fed was increasing the Fed rate, that a lot of people were going to be in trouble with credit cards because it's in most cases variable debt. But look at this. This is the 3-month trend for just the month of March. And if you look, the entire month of March hovers around 20%. 20%. Now what's happening is, unfortunately, a lot of people can only make the minimum payment. And when they only make the minimum payment with 20% interest on these credit cards, what happens is that minimum payment does not cover all the interest that's being added on. It's compounding interest. So it basically becomes a negative amortization loan where you're paying the minimum payment, even if you're not putting more debt on that credit card, buying more stuff on that credit card, which you should not be doing if you're in this situation. What's happening is people are paying that minimum credit card debt, but the debt keeps rising up and they never get ahead. And unfortunately, people are going to go into bankruptcy situations, or they're going to start defaulting. If you guys want me to do another video on how to negotiate with credit card companies as well, let me know in the comments below. Because there are ways out of credit card debt where you can negotiate with credit card companies. and alleviate any kind of bankruptcy that will set you guys back a lot of years. I mean, you're talking 8, 10 plus years if you go into a bankruptcy situation. The next thing is student loan debt. Obviously, we all know that that is a major issue. We're hovering around almost $1.8 trillion in student loan debt, guys. This is crazy. And you know what's more crazy is the amount of people that I speak to that are still in this mindset of they are taking on debt to go to college. There's still a ton of kids that think that they have to get a college degree to be successful. And if you guys are in that situation, or if you have children in that situation, I would encourage you guys to be sure that you guys are really thinking this through before taking on exuberant amount of student loan debt, because the student loan debt, despite what Joe Biden is promising, you're not going to be able to bankrupt out of that or get out of this kind of situation. So student loan debt is really, really, really hurting a lot of people, and it's very unfortunate. I did another video too on Dave Ramsey's documentary on that whole situation. A lot of good interviews in that too, so I encourage you guys to watch that video. I'll try to link that too for you guys. And then the next thing is, you know, especially with all the student or the stimulus money coming in, and people have cash in their pockets, they got, you know, checks coming in the mail, they have you know, they have income from their jobs and everything else. They're like, hey, you know what? I need a new car. I can afford that. And let's go ahead and buy a new car. I forget the percentage of people. I did another video on this, but it's like the average car payment right now is $700 a month. That to me is insane. I highly encourage you guys never to have a car payment unless the car is making you money, like Turo or something like that. I highly recommend never having a car payment. I think that this just sets you back in life. And look where we're at today. Over $1.52 trillion in auto loans, guys. Do you know how many vehicles are going to be heavily discounted coming into the next year or 2 years? I mean, I think that we're going to have a prime opportunity. Whoever's sitting on the sidelines with some cash and have wanted their dream car or dream truck, they're going to be able to buy those at a deep discount, pennies on the dollar, because I think we're going to see a huge, huge surge of default and repos in the car market. And I think we're going to see car dealerships get flooded with inventory. And I believe that, you know, if you want a vehicle, you're going to be able to get a vehicle. And I just think that a lot of people are just going to be in such big trouble with the amount of debt. And not to mention, it's a rat race with these car loans. So they're going to get you into a car, say it's $50,000 debt. And especially when the car market turns, and it's starting to turn right now, when that $50,000 loan or that car value goes down to 40, 35, and then you're getting ready to trade that car in or you want to sell it, you're going to be severely upside down by $5,000, $10,000, $20,000, and it's just a rat race. So you go ahead, you go to a dealership, you trade it in, but what do? They take that balance, that negative equity balance, and they're going to pack it onto the next vehicle and the next vehicle and the next vehicle. It happens all the time, guys, and it is a rat race of financing a vehicle. Don't do it. It's a bad situation. Even if you're hard up and you need transportation, figure something out, borrow somebody's car, carpool. Don't get into that kind of car debt. And lastly, HELOC loans. This is just putting people in much more precarious situations with their finances, and I want to talk more about this because I think this is going to be a large issue for many people. In 2022, the number of home equity loan originations reached their highest level since 2010. In Q4 2022, HELOC balances increased by $14 billion collectively. That's the largest increase in more than 10 years. The total outstanding HELOC balances is now $336 billion. And I anticipate that is going to continue to rise up, especially as people are struggling to afford their bills and so forth. But here is the problem. Unforeseen circumstances come up: death, divorce, disease, relocation, and other factors that cause people to have to sell their homes. I've been through it. I'm a real estate broker in Southwest Florida. There's situations where people have to sell, and unfortunately, if they tap into that equity with these HELOC loans, odds are they're going to be upside down. Our real estate market in many cases is going to be decreasing month after month, year after year, over the next maybe couple of years. Who knows? But a lot of areas around the country are starting to feel the effects. And unfortunately, I believe that a lot of people will become upside down if they tap into that home equity. It's going to force them into a position of not being able to sell the property, or if they have to sell it, maybe they're going to have to cut a check at closing, which a lot of people probably don't have that kind of money in their bank account, since we just talked about the savings rate. So this might force people into a short sale scenario. So just watch out. Be very cautious when you're taking out equity loans on your homes. The future of a lot of people is uncertain, and I know you guys watching this are preparing for this. And if you have any family members or whoever are not very good with money, pass along this video, please, because I just want to be able to help as many people with these kind of videos and just try to get people to think, look, I need to just change my spending habits. And it's a small shift in that. I had to do it in the past. If you watch my other videos, I made my own share of mistakes and I changed things. And when I changed things, everything happened pretty quickly in terms of rebuilding wealth. And it got me to where I'm at today. And if you know anybody in these kind of situations, please pass along this video, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Thanks a lot for being here.